All right, let's get started on our jar of lemonade. This one's not too hard. If you're painting it on a canvas flag like this, you're gonna use quite a bit more paint than you would if you were painting it on a regular primed piece of canvas or canvas board. All right, I'm just gonna start with the lighter yellow. I think I might have grabbed the wrong yellow. Well, we're just gonna go with it. Make it work. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start up here in this corner. Since I am right-handed, I wanna try not to stick my hand in it anywhere. So I'm gonna work from up here down, but we're gonna start with just the light yellow. And the best thing that I have found to do, the way that I do it, is I just take the edge of the brush and try to draw a line, just a solid line, wherever I need it on this canvas with the brush. It's like that, didn't work out quite the way I wanted it to. There we go. This little lemon is a little odd shaped, but that's okay, we like him anyway. So I'm just gonna go all the way around, tracing out my line. And I'm going to use the tip of the brush to trace around anything that's smaller than my edge. And see, I can't push as well with that tip, so that's why I like to use the edge of it. But we're going to use a marker or something to outline it, so it does not have to be perfect. Not at all. Okay, then we're just gonna fill it in. Once you get your outlines done, just go ahead and fill it in. All right. And do the same thing with the jar. You can use a smaller brush if you like, you know, a smaller, stiffer brush to get a really nice outline if you want. I just have a lot of my brushes packed up for class, so I'm using what I have at the table right now. This one's pretty easy. It's pretty much just like a coloring book. We've just got a few steps that aren't fill in the blank. Hopefully you will enjoy this one and it won't be a stressful thing. It takes just a minute or two to get used to painting on this raw canvas because of the way it soaks things in. But I do feel like to a point, maybe it's more forgiving than a primed canvas. I don't know. Maybe it's not, could just be me, but I would love to know what you think. In our classes, we're always talking about, you know, we love to paint. We don't always have a place to put all the paintings. So we thought it would be fun if we had another way to display our work. I feel like my line is not right there, so I'm gonna ignore it. Actually, I don't want to ignore it, so I'll just bring this one up because it'll be a little harder to cover that the way I'm doing the background. Anyway, so we're always looking for some way or something to paint on so that we can use what we paint instead of just throwing it in a closet or something. So we decided flags would be a great way to go. You get tired of it, you can just roll it up and put it in your closet or in a drawer and throw something else out there. I don't think you can have too many. I think they would make cute gifts too. I'm not sure that line is right. I'm gonna have to back up and look at it after we do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and fill this lemon in too. But I'm not gonna go all the way to the edge on this. Well, I guess I can. I just don't wanna go all the way to the edge right here and right there because I don't wanna lose my line. It'll be easy enough to find. We're gonna touch it up with a little bit of white later so that you can see the difference. And we're gonna put a rind on the lemon so you don't necessarily have to go all the way to the edge. But it's fine, either way, go to the edge or not, we'll cover it up when we do the rest of the lemon. I'm gonna leave this little spot right here just so I can see my line so I don't lose it. All right. This takes a lot more paint than primed canvas, you will notice. Make sure you can still see this, okay? Hopefully my head wasn't in the way. there's the first part done. We're gonna let that dry. Since I don't want to stick my arm in this, I don't want you to have to hear the blow dryer. I'm going to turn it around, but first, I guess I need to wipe the table off so I don't get the back of my flag all painted. I should have warned you to begin with. You may want to put something underneath your flag because it will soak through. It's not bad. It's just a little bit here and there, but it will make a mess. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do these leaves. All right, now I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of this yellow. Oh, look at that, I got green all over my flag somehow. Well, that's okay. I'll cover it up. All right, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this yellow and lighten the top of my leaf a little bit. Oh, that's probably more than I wanted. I don't want it to be quite that light. I'm just gonna work that in a little. All right. Let's do the red next. Just gonna fill in every other stripe on the straw. And I think I'd like to make mine a little thicker, my stripes. So I'm gonna color in 2 2 spots for each color. You can blow dry this if you get to this spot and you're getting your hands or your arms in it or whatever. Feel free to go ahead and blow dry it before you move on to each step. Probably make my stripes a little too thick. That's okay. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. Do it however it makes you happy. If you do like I did and you go over in a spot, you can try to scratch it off a little bit or just let it dry and paint back over it with the other color. Okay. Now let's see. Let's get our darker yellow. Next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna take this darker yellow and go all the way around both lemons, all 3 lemons, and make a little rind. I hope you can see that. I may need to lighten my other yellow so you can see it. Let's do this. All right. Hope you can see that now. So I kind of cheated with my little rind there. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a line straight out this way, and I'm just going to make several wedges in the lemon just with a straight line. So you're going to go from the point of the jar right here and just go straight out toward the edge to make your pie-shaped wedges. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to do that, and then I'll show you how to round them. All right, let's see. Okay. You probably want a smaller brush. Of course, I'm using a pretty small brush for this. So I could use this, or you could use a round brush or something even smaller, whatever you've got. And then you're just gonna take the corners right here on each little pie piece and just round them out. This is a little easier to do if it's dry, so you might want to hit it with a blow dryer. Hope you guys can see that okay. All right, see how that made it look like wedges? I think you can see that. I'm gonna go kind of in the centers, inside the little pieces. You don't have to do this. I'm gonna try to just brighten it up so you can see the shape of the wedge once I You could, of course, do this if you want to. It actually looks kind of cute. Just go back and kind of put some definition with a little bit of white while it's still wet, and then you can kind of work it in. That way you can see it a little better. Yeah, I like that. I think that's what Bob Ross would call a happy little accident. Okay. Now we're going to go around and do that same thing to our other lemon slices. Right. Do what I did before and lighten this up really quick so you can see it. so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna make our rind, and then we're gonna make our wedges. You want to try to make your little lemon rind uniform all the way around the edge. And we're going to make our wedges again. And I'm going to make 3 lines. And that's going to give us 4 little wedges. So 1 in the middle, 2 on either side of it. And we're gonna go ahead and round those edges just like we did on the other. And I'm gonna go back in with a little bit of white. Robert's working from home. You guys might hear him in there on the phone. All right. Okay, so I'm also going to do the same thing up here on the top. Oopsie, that was still wet. It's okay. When it dries, we'll go back over it. Okay, so we're gonna do the same exact thing. Let me zoom you back out. Over here on this other little lemon. Okay. Great, same thing. Make our outside edge, rind of the lemon all the way around. Okay. The next thing we want to do is get our white paint and fill in our straw. Now, if your red paint is not dry, I would highly recommend blow drying. I think I'm gonna go ahead and recommend a blow dry in between each step, just so that it doesn't run. Sometimes it runs. I don't know if you can, well, actually right there is where I went out of the line. So maybe it's not running too bad, but there is a chance of it. So keep your dryer handy and just blow dry it in between each step, I would say. And that might keep you from having any headaches of the paint running together. Okay. Now we're just going to touch up anything that needs to be touched up. I feel like my straw is a little skinny up there at the top. In the red part. There we go. Okay. All right. Next step. Depending on what you're going to do to outline your jar, whether a blue Sharpie, a black Sharpie, or if you're going to use a paintbrush, it's totally up to you. Whichever you're going to choose, you're going to get that out now, and you're going to put just a little arc like that in the back. That's going to be kind of the back of your jar. Okay, the reason we're doing that is because we're going to get some of our light yellow. Oh, that is probably way too much. And I'm going to get my bigger brush that I was using and dry it off really good. All right, we want our yellow, but we want more white. Okay, so about like that, maybe like that. Okay, so and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wipe off some of this because I don't want it to be too clumpy. And I'm just gonna start on this side and brush it all the way across, right over top of the straw and everything. And I'm just going to keep going back and forth in kind of the opposite arc that I did right here. So I'm going to kind of mimic this arc right here. So I just want to keep picking up a little bit of paint. I don't want a lot. So I'm just going to keep going in this little arc. And with it being canvas, I guess you don't have to wipe off as much because it will take a lot of paint. All right, so this is where we're giving that illusion that the straw and the lemonade are inside the jar. So play with it a little bit. It's better to have not quite enough paint on there and have to keep going back than to get too much. And I don't mind if it's a little heavier, kind of closer to the edges. You just want a little bit all over. Let's see if I can quit chasing this plate around. All the way down to the bottom. Try to avoid your little lemon. And then just keep doing that until you like it, till you're happy with it. Okay. How are you feeling about that? All right. For the next step, I'm going to show you on the other flag because I don't want to put it on this one. I wanted to have two different ones, so just grab my other one. You can see I kind of already got it on here, but you'll still be able to see, I think, what I'm doing. So you can see on here that it's got these kind of diagonal lines. I'm going to clean that brush that I just had. And I'm going to pick up the aqua color. And what I want to do is I'm going to start at the straw in a couple of places and just bring it out in that diagonal direction. Okay. So I switched flags. Don't freak out that I've already got this outlined and everything. It's okay. And you're going to do that everywhere this diagonal meets something. So up against the jar. Actually, you don't have to do it against the jar because you're going to go over it. It's really the things you have to worry about are the straw and the lemonade and the lemons. So you don't really have to worry. You can go right over the jar lines. Don't worry about those because you'll probably be able to find those. If you're concerned that you can't see them well enough, go ahead now and get a pencil and go over them and darken them up a little bit so that you can see them better. All right, so like I said before, I'm just going to pick a couple of places and try to match the diagonal that I was going at. And I'm letting my brush run out of paint. And I'm just going to keep doing that all over this. So right here where the lemonade starts, let me zoom that in for you. So I'm going to start the tip of my brush right there. Let's see, and just bring up that diagonal. And then I'm going to come right here to the straw, touch it, and bring that diagonal down. Okay. Now, you can go with that and do the diagonal all over it, or you could fill in the whole thing, or you can not paint the background. It's totally up to you. Let's see, but anywhere, like I said, anywhere around the lemons or the lemonade, you just want to be really careful about going over those. So, and I'm letting my brush run out of paint, and then I'm picking up more. Of course, you know, if you get carried away or go over something, you can go back over it and fix it. It's just, you know, if you don't have to do that, then it's nice. But if you do, you do. It's no big deal. There's that. Okay, now the other choice that you have if you want to do is like a little table at the bottom. So let's see. So you've got your teal, aqua, turquoise, whatever color in the background. Then if you wanted, in the original it had a little black and white tablecloth. Let's see, so I would say start it somewhere around here. Give yourself a nice white square. Maybe like that. Pardon my dog. Okay, then I'm gonna do, let's see, that's close to 3 fingers width. I'm gonna try to eyeball it and keep each one of these squares about that wide. So it's about double of my paintbrush. Lou! Lucy, be still. Be still. Shh, shh, shh. Lou. I think that the mailman is probably close. Lucy. Stop. Come on. Come up here. Come on. All right, and I'm just doing these a little haphazardly. Just trying to keep them about the same, like I said, the same width. So there. Lucy. Sorry, guys. Lucy's very offended right now. Okay. Just can't quite seem to get hold of it. A hold of herself. One, 2, there. Lou. Bring this one up just a smidge. One, 2. All right, that one will be black. Then I'm going to start a little checkerboard pattern down here. I'm not too worried about making it perfect, just close, just as close as I can, so that from far away you kind of get the gist that that's what it is. This one seems a little wider, but we are not in the perfection business, especially on these little flags. Nobody's going to be right up on them looking at them. Okay. Sorry, I probably should have done this optional part last so I could show you the rest of it, but we'll get it. We'll get it there. All right, I'm going to clean out this brush. Grab some black paint. Maybe. Here it is. I love these colors together. The black, white, teal, red, and yellow. It's a little, I feel like it's a little, I don't know, retro. Kind of got a little retro feel to it. Okay. I'm just going to take the black and do the same thing, just fill in these little squares so that I have my little black tablecloth underneath. Black and white checkered tablecloth. squares got a little wider as I went across, but that's okay. Alright, we're gonna try to do this one about the same place we did the other one. And I've got a little bit of a border right here, so I'm gonna try to leave a little bit on the other side too. You can take it all the way to the edge. Either way is fine. All right. Okay, so after you do that, get everything blow dried. Then, you know what I'd like to do? I'll do one more thing that I didn't do before. Let's do this. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more white and just bring it across the top of the jar. That way it looks like there's something. We're just picking up a little bit, just like we did on the bottom. Just that way there's just something in front of that red that makes it look like it's inside the jar. There we go. I like that. I'm going to do it up here too. All right. Okay. Also, I didn't show you in the other one, but in this one, I got a little bit of yellow, just kind of dry brushed some yellow just right into this corner. So you don't want to put really any detail, but if you've got just a little yellow in there, there you go. Kind of gives you that reflection of the lemon behind the jar. All right, once you do that, then you're going to take your Sharpie, black, white, or your acrylic pen, and go all the way around. I got these. They're called acrylic painters. I don't know if you can really see that, on Amazon, and I really love them. They don't dry out like the paint markers that you get at Hobby Lobby or Walmart even. But this one I went around with a blue Sharpie just to give the jar kind of a blue look. So that's going to be your next step. And then you're going to blow dry it. You want to blow dry it really well. You can trace around the straw if you want to, but I don't like to trace around the straw. If it's, if your lines are a little wonky and they're not, you know, what you want, then go ahead and trace the straw and go back over the whole thing with a dry brush of white after you trace the straw. That way it's kind of covered up, or it's kind of, you know, it gives that depth. Okay. Then you're going to, oh, I didn't tell you about the little, look. So I traced all this with blue, and then I just did little white highlights down each side. Okay. So then, all right. So after that, that's all the painting we're going to do on this. We're going to blow dry it. Then you're going to pick your letters that you want and decide where you want them. Okay. So there's a lot going on up here. So I don't really want the letters to be up in that. So I'm going to try to make sure they're below that. I'm going to do my best to kind of just look at it and see what's straight. Okay. And if you've got a little piece of tape, you can tape it into place. Just make sure everything's really good and dry. All right. Okay, you can put your tape on there. Get your graphite paper. Figure out which side goes down. It's going to be the darker side. Sometimes I will lay it down on my piece of paper and doodle on it and make sure it comes off to make sure I've got the right side down. Okay, so since this is in place, it's taped in, I'm just going to lift this up and lay down my carbon paper. Okay, then you're going to trace all around your letters. Now it's up to you. Sometimes I will just go through and trace the inside of the letters so I can just go faster. If it's a font that I'm not super familiar with, or if I just feel like being super detailed with it, then sometimes I will go all around the outside of each letter so that I can go back with my paintbrush or my acrylic paint marker and fill it in like a coloring book page. So when you start tracing your letters, do one letter or half of a letter. Hold your paper down and look under to make sure you can see it. So see right here, I can't see a thing because look at that. I had my carbon paper turned the wrong way. Even after I checked it, I still put it under there the wrong way somehow. So I'm just gonna pull that out, turn it over, and put it back under, and trace my letters.